everybody, and welcome back to Crafts with Louisa. I hope you're able to enjoy this nice spring weather we've been having lately. Today I'm going to do a craft that will require us to take it outside, so it's a good thing that the weather's warmed up for us. But I'll tell you a little bit about our lesson before we make our craft today. So if you've been following along in our grade 2 to 5 unit, we have been learning about what happened after Jesus rose again and ascended into heaven. And so today we are learning what happened after that. So last week we learned about Jesus's ascension. So he went up to heaven because he is our king and he is seated on the throne in heaven. And we also have learned recently about the Great Commission. So there's kind of 3 parts to the Great Commission. There's the go, and then there's the into the world and tell others about Jesus. So we have those 3 parts: going to all nations and telling the good news. The good news is the message that God asks us to share with others. But he says, guess what, guys? You don't have to do that on your own. I'm going to send someone to help you. And that was the Holy Spirit. So we have learned about the Trinity, which also has 3 parts. So with the Trinity, it's kind of hard to understand sometimes, but I'll tell you those 3 parts. So we have God the Father, who is God, and then God the Son, which was Jesus, and then we have God the Holy Spirit. And God sent the Holy Spirit to be our helper here on earth until Jesus comes again to bring us to heaven someday. So the Holy Spirit was sent down, and I'm going to read that part of the Bible passage for us today. So I'm going to read Acts chapter 2, verse 2 to 4, but I would encourage you to read all of Acts chapter 2 as a family because it tells the whole story about when God sent the Holy Spirit to be our helper. But today I'll read Acts chapter 2, verse 2 to 4, and it says, "Suddenly there was a sound from heaven like a roaring of a mighty windstorm, and it filled the house where they were sitting, and everyone present was filled with the Holy Spirit." So when we talk about the Holy Spirit, it wasn't something physical that you could see or hold on to, but it was the Spirit of God, and that was the 3rd part of the Trinity. And we have the Holy Spirit as a gift to us, as our helper. And the Holy Spirit helps us to do what God asks of us. And if we remember the Great Commission, God asks us to tell everyone about him, and he sent his Holy Spirit as our helper. So today I'm going to make a craft that will help show us something else, and it will remind us that the Holy Spirit is our helper. So watch this. Alright, I have finished my craft for today, and I have made this little wind turbine that I can stick out in my garden. And this wind turbine will help me see the wind moving, just like the Holy Spirit helps us see God at work. So the Holy Spirit is our helper, and when we do something that might have been super hard for us to do on our own, but we were able to do it, we can thank God for helping us. We can thank him for helping us to be patient when we don't want to, or helping us to love others even when we're really frustrated. And that is the Holy Spirit at work in us. We've also learned recently about the fruits of the Spirit. So that's the same Spirit, the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit. So we learned that the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And those are the evidence or the proof of God at work in our life. But I hope for today we'll be able to make this fun craft, and it will remind us that we can see the wind through this even when we can't really see the wind. And that's a reminder that the Holy Spirit is God at work. So I hope this was a fun craft for you today, and I hope that you enjoy your weekend. See you next time.